Bandwidth for Hauger History is graciously donated by Podbean.com, hosting thousands of free podcasts, and you can start your own today at Podbean.com, and a gracious microphone donation from Samson at SamsonTech.com. And welcome into a special edition of the Hauger History Podcast. Welcome, take your seats, everybody. Today we're going to be discussing the Middle Colonies on the 8th grade level of colonialization, the English arriving in the United States, and the new territory claimed by them that forever changed the course of the world and our American history. Mr. Hauger here, everybody. Hope you're doing very well. Working our way through September of 2016 and well into the third week of school. And hope you are doing well in your studies wherever you were listening from. You can reach out to us at haugerhistorypod@gmail.com. This is episode 3 of our 8th grade series in social studies, and this was a specific request that was emailed to haugerhistorypod@gmail.com from Thomas Middle School in Arlington Heights, Illinois. Shout out to Arlington Heights and our new listeners at Thomas Middle School who were wanting to know more about the Middle Colonies and specifically to have a conversation to host and set up the expectations of the Middle Colonies, the Dutch and Swedish influence, how the King of England got involved, and the split between New York and New Jersey. So those are some of the topics that we're going to cover in this third episode of the 8th grade series, and I hope you enjoy it. So when we talk about the Middle or the Middle Atlantic colonies, what we're speaking about is New York, New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. Makes sense if you think about the colonies to the south of New England and to the north of the true southern colonies. In New York, it was previously a Dutch settlement, and the trading post was actually known as New Netherland. The Dutch West India Company acquired the Manhattan Island and Long Island land grabs that we know today through a misunderstood purchase from the Native Americans. The Dutch established New Amsterdam, which is today New York City. The English took control over from the Dutch in what we now know as one of the first intercolonial land grabs, and this renamed and resulted in the colony of New York. Pennsylvania, famously noted for settler William Penn, by which it got its name. William Penn was very, very progressive. We talked about that in 8th grade class today, how at the time treating everybody fairly in the new world of colonialization, mercantilism, in the early days of capitalism was not always best for business. He started the Society of Friends as a Quaker and preached that we should live side by side with the Native Americans, trade with them. He forbade the selling of alcohol or indulgences to the Native Americans, and he wanted to set up peaceful and respectful relations. The Dutch and Swedish started the first Middle Colony, if you really look at the origins, when it was still called New Netherland. King Charles II, their counterpart, was the King of Great Britain. He wanted this area badly, and he took it by force. But the people did not want to fight. They gave up land in the year 1664, and the king gave it to his brother James. James split it into 2 separate colonies that we now know and began to be known as New York and New Jersey. The other area of William Penn, his Quaker lifestyle, his group of people that said all people were equal, they did not believe in war. The people in Great Britain did not like this. Mr. Penn wanted to go away. Penn's father, he in the past had lent money to King Charles II, and so Penn thought he had reason, and he had an openness to go to the king and talk about his issues. He said, hey, I don't want the money. That's not what I'm after. What I'd like is some land for our Quaker people to live on, for our Quaker people to thrive in, and to practice our religious freedom, something that, again, was a popular thing in the New England colonies. So the king gave this land to Penn in 1681. There were so many trees, so many areas that we think of as woods, that the people called it Penn's Woods, and of course we now know it as Pennsylvania. Now, in Pennsylvania, William Penn really let people be free. They did not have to belong to a church. Any man could vote or hold office. Some of the ideals that we think of as very American ideals were being held in this Pennsylvania early on, and it was the center of what we think of and mentally cognitive relate to the colonial America scene. In the late 1700s, changes started happening. Philadelphia was just a hub for change. The people in the Middle Colonies had one thing that you would want to know if you're getting ready for a quiz or colonial presentation, among others, and that was the ability to grow grain. They called the region the breadbasket colonies. Farmers sold grain and cows that were domesticated during this time in previous periods of civilization. And the people also had iron. So with these tremendous resources and the ability to grow food, they were able to trade for guns and tools along with their own domestic supply of iron, which you would imagine would be very valuable to people in the North, New England, and southern colonies, and back to England to be traded across Europe as well. The many rivers were also the key because it wasn't enough just to have products. You needed the means to transport them. You needed those channels of trade way before Amazon Prime. Many rivers flowed through the Middle Colonies. This made trading really easy. Farmers put their crops on boats. The boats sailed away to the big ports, and the biggest ports in the land at the time were in Philadelphia and New York City, where large ships could then be loaded and shipped overseas. So those advantages really gave the Middle Colonies something to thrive with, something that would give these areas a real advantage and leg up on trade with the rest of the world. And it makes sense when you think about it. Colonies needed resource and they needed people. Today in 8th grade social studies class, we talked about patroons, which were people who were kind of like salesmen. If you were in England and not in the best situation, and you wanted to improve your life and your position and your stock and your social class, and maybe just wanted to make dollar bills, y'all, what you would do is round up as many people as you could and convince them to travel to the new world and travel into the colony that you yourself wanted to live in. And in exchange, governors in New Jersey and the people in charge, if you could bring in 50 settlers, you would be given a large land grant for yourself for free. So if you didn't have a stable income, you didn't have a career, you didn't have 2 cents to rub together in old England, you could get yourself a free plot of land and recruit people to grow the colony, and in the process, make your land more valuable because more people wanted to go there. It was an amazing deal, and patroons were giving a lot of people big opportunities in New Jersey and around other colonies. Well, I hope this discussion laid the grounds for just a little bit more research. If you want to know more about the Middle Colonies or any subject, you can email haugerhistorypod@gmail.com. That's HAUGER historypod@gmail.com. You can also follow us at Hauger History on Twitter and get in touch with us to talk about what subjects you want to go over in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade social studies. This is Mr. Hauger wishing you the best in your studies. Make the most of it. Listen to your teachers and your parents and all the people in your life. And if you have any questions, get back in touch with me. Thanks so much for listening. And we'll get back with you soon for more 6th, 7th, and 8th grade middle school social studies. See you in class, everybody.